Okay, good afternoon to everybody. My name is Dick Lantim. I'm from Microsoft France, and I'm a UX guy, so I'm talking about UX user experience each day. This talk is about roadmap, but the roadmap is about an overview of what we are doing with expression tools, WPF, Silverlight. So it's not really a roadmap for the project. It's a roadmap, an overview about what we have done and what we will do in the next years. So to start, let's see what is the agenda. I have a lot of things to cover. So we cover WPF, Visual Studio, Expression Blend, Expression Design, Expression Coder, Silverlight 1.0, Silverlight 1.1. So we have a big overview of all things Expression Studio is covered. So just begin with WPF, Windows Presentation Foundation. Are you already working with WPF? That's a little sound. Excuse me, there's a problem with the sound. It's not my computer. Thank you. So, are you already working with WPF? Can you just hands up? Okay. So sorry, I will make just a little introduction, so a big introduction about WPF before. So what is about WPF? If we look at what we have done last years, for example, in 1993, when you are talking about rich interfaces, people are consider rich interfaces like luxury. It's not mandatory at this time. But today, it's very critical for your application. You do have rich interactive application with good visual and good design. And for example, I will show you an application we have done. This application is for French TV. So let's have a look at this application. It is a TV player for internet. Come on. It is a WPF application. So it uses click once. So the application can be installed by internet, and all the update will automatically be downloaded by the client. So I just logging in the application. I hope that the network will be better now. Come on. So the experience is good when the network is good. So we have to wait for the authentication. Okay. And because we are outside of French, we cannot access to the live content. So I just have video on demand when I am outside of French. So I just click on the video there. The player downloads the video, and when the file is downloaded, the file will be played in the player there. I can access to another video with a 3D object there. Also, the news here has a prism in 3D. I can go to full screen. I have all the control appear on top of the video, and it's still working. I can change to another video. I can go back to the normal size. Just reduce the player and put it the button of the desktop if you don't want to see the video. And because you wanted to have an object, you have some piano touch there. And if I just click on playlist, we move in a 3D view of a player. I can switch between the player and switch between the list. And because we really want to have an object, when you want to configure this player, we just switch back to the player and have all the configuration there. So this is the new kind of application you can do with WPF, and this is why you have to think about design. You think about new functionality you can provide because you have 3D and animation with WPF. So WPF brings a new rendering graphics engine for Windows. It's on top of Windows. You just install the .NET framework to have WPF. And you can manipulate vectors, 3D object, 2D object, audio, video, music. You can make animation on all these objects and make some transformation to have, for example, a shape moving to another shape. So that is what you can do with WPF. So it's based on the framework.NET, so you have to install the framework 3.0 to have WPF. As you perhaps heard in the keynote, you will have framework, .NET Framework 3.5 in the couple of days. So it's a .NET base. And it's really opened the way to creativity on Windows platform. If you want to have something very nice on Windows, it's very difficult because you have to use DirectX, or perhaps you have to use other technologies. But if you want to just create a Windows application which looks very great, it's very difficult. So WPF make it very easy for developer. And it's also you have to think differently because you have new capability on this platform, as I have shown you with Eurosport application. So you have to really think differently. And to convince you that you have to think differently, I will show you another example. This is a very old example, but it's a very good one. Just close this one. Okay. It's about puzzle. Have you already seen this application? It's a very old one, no? So it's just some button there. You can mix the button, and the game is to put all things in the right order. It's a very easy game. But WPF don't care about how things look like. You can change the visual whenever, when you want. It can be dynamically, or you can just make the visual static. But the visual is not very important for WPF. The behavior is more important. So the behavior here is to have a game, and you can play with all pieces there. But you don't care if you have buttons or something else. And for example, I can map some picture on this object and mix the picture, and I have the same game. But because WPF can manipulate 3D object, 2D object, vectors, and also video, I can use a video and apply a video on this all pieces and mix the video and still playing with the game. So that's why you really have to think differently with WPF, because you don't have the same barrier of window. And for example, the video is rendering in the graphic card, so it doesn't use CPU to do something like this. Another great application is done by one of my colleagues in France. It's a book, but a dynamic book. So you have a 3D object there. I can go to the next pages, and in each pages, you have something which WPF can handle. So there is an application there. It's a real control. You have a hole here because you see what is behind in the hole. If I go to the next pages, I have some button there, and if I go there, I have a XPS document. So it's a book. I can go through the book, make some zoom. So all these things can be handled by WPF. I also have here a video. But what is very fun there is that we imitate the book. And you can go to the next page or previous page and simulate a real book there. So this is a new kind of application you can do with WPF. Okay. And WPF is also introduced something very new on the Windows platform. It's about collaboration between designers, because all applications have to have great design. So we make something for better collaboration between designer and developer. And the thing very important in WPF for that is XAML. XAML is a new language. This language is based on XML, so it's the XML syntax. And this language makes collaboration possible between designers and developers. I will talk a lot of XAML after this slide. And because we have XAML, we can provide new kind of tools. So the Expression Studio version 1.0, you have 4 tools in the Expression Studio. The first is about web. So Expression Web make easier to create and manage website. You don't have XAML in Expression Web. It's just about HTML, CSS files. It's about ASP.NET, but not XAML right now. The second one is Expression Blend. Expression Blend is a new tool for creating interactive application based on WPF. So Expression Blend use and manipulate XAML files. The next one is Expression Design. Expression Design is for designer. So you just create visual, and the visual can be exported as JPEG, PNG files, but the visual can also be exported in XAML format. So you can produce visual with Expression Design and use this visual in Expression Blend. And the last one is Expression Media. Expression Media, you have 2 separate projects in the box. You have one called Expression Media, which is manage rich media content. It could be pictures, video, or Word document, PowerPoint document also. It's just there to manage all your documents you have on your computer. And the second project is Expression Encoder. Expression Encoder is for encoding video, but it's a project for creating Silverlight application. So you can encode video, but you can also generate application based on Silverlight. So I'll show you this in this session. But before, let's do a little introduction about XAML. So what is XAML? I will use a tool you can find in internet called KXAML. I don't know why you call these tools like this. But it's very important to know that you can use a Notepad to do WPF application. So it's just a more cool Notepad we have there. So XAML is based on XML syntaxes. So you have here the XAML language, and you can describe your interface, describe an object with XAML. For example, if I want to have a button in these pages, I just put a button there. Oh, sorry. And if I want to have a caption there, okay, you will see a button appear in these tools and with a caption. So the tools just compile what you see there and just rendering the interface on the top of a window. So I just have a button. If I want to have another component, for example, a checkbox, I have to put it in a container. So I will just encapsulate the button in a container. So for example, the stack panel. And just put the button in this container. So because now I have a container, I can put several objects. For example, a checkbox. So you have a button and a checkbox. So if you just look at this rendering, you are thinking about Windows application, but it's not really Windows control. For example, if you want to have a checkbox in the button, it's very complicated to do it in Windows Forms application or Windows application. You can make a picture, for example. It's more easy. You make a picture with a button and a checkbox in the button. But what you can do in XAML is to take any object and put it in any container. So there I have a button with a checkbox in the button. Okay. And you can combine all objects with them. And you can so have new kind of control because you can combine them together. In the button, I just have one object, but I can put a container in the button. So I just put a stack panel there and put the checkbox. Sorry. And put the checkbox in the stack panel. So now I can put several objects in the button. For example, I would put a video. So I have a component called media element. And just specify the video. Oh, it's in French. Underscore video. Okay. And just close this tag. Okay. And so the video will play in the button, in the container. I can specify the size of the video. And the height. Okay. And so I can reduce the size of a video. So it's really a button. The checkbox is still working. And I have a video in the button. The rendering is not really important for WPF application. You can do everything that you can think about. The last thing I will do here is to make some transformation on this control. For example, the stack panel there, I will make a transformation on this. Stack panel. For example, a layout transform. And I will just make a rotation with angle equal to 10. And I have an angle with a container. So I can make any kind of transformation. So it's basically it is a rotation, but I can use a matrix and make some transformation on the object. So there are more calculation when you use a matrix. So that is WPF. There are a lot to say about WPF, but I will show you in the next example. So that's the last time I will use the notepad, because it's not very easy to write all things by hand. So if you are a developer, you will use Visual Studio. So you can create a WPF application with Visual Studio. But Visual Studio is really a tool for developers. It's only for developers. You will do all the technical stuff in Visual Studio. For example, you will create an interface. You will make some event with all the controls. But you won't be, you don't care about how the application will look like. You just add the behavior you wanted to have in the application. So let's have a look to Visual Studio for creating a WPF application. On my machine, I have Orcas, so the next version of Visual Studio 2008. And you can just here create a new project. Choose Windows application, WPF. And if you already develop on Windows Form application, all things look like Windows Forms. So you have here a window, you have object, you can drag and drop object in the interface, just compile, and you will have a WPF application. But what's changed there, the code generated by Visual Studio is XAML. So all the components you will use in the interface, it will not be C# or VB code to create this control, but XAML to instantiate this control. If you want to code the event on the button, you have to make an event handler on the button. Because it's better right now, you cannot have an event property in the inspector there. So you have to write it by hand for this version. So for example, the button, you can say, I have a click. What's happened with the mouse? I have a click, and the click will call a new event handler. Perhaps I called it button click. This is the name of my event handler. Button click, I have to code it in Visual Studio. But I will use C# or VB to code the event handler. So I just had here an event handler. Oh, right. Button click. Object standard. Don't be afraid, scared, because I'm writing all things, but you have some tools for doing that. Okay, just for understand what I am doing there. So root event args e, because it's important to see that there is nothing really new in the way you coding WPF application about, except XAML. For example, it just says here, hello, and compile the application. So you have an interface described with XAML, but the code still C# or VB code. So you can use all things you have done on .NET platform and just change the user interface based on WPF. Okay, so this is Visual Studio. And now, because you have several tools and several profiles, we can have this kind of workflow. You have, expression design for produce images, visual. If you are creating some web application, you can use PNG, JPEG for the visual. But if you are creating WPF application, you will use perhaps Blend, expression Blend to make the interface for your application. But all the technical stuff will be done by Visual Studio. So it depends which kind of profile you have in your team, but the designer will perhaps use Expression Design and Expression Blend, but the developer will use Visual Studio and perhaps Expression Blend. So let's have a look at Expression Blend. So just launch the project there. And in this Expression Blend, I can create a new project, and I can choose WPF application. You have here the window, and I have different tools there to create my interface. And because the project is for designer, you don't have a lot of control, because designers hate controls. They just want to have I have a designer there, but they just want to draw, make something very beautiful, but a checkbox, a slider, a lister box, you don't want to see it. So what you see here is something which make some tools to make some vector object. You have some shape, a rectangle, I can change the corner. You have some ellipse, line, etc. So it's a design tools but for interfaces. You also have all the objects there. So if you click here, I am using an internal beta of Expression Blanc. That's why all the options are truncated. But in the RTM version, you will see all the features. So here I have all the container I can use in WPF, all the control for text, so text box, text block, rich text box, etc. All the buttons, button, checkbox, etc. But in WPF there are a lot of objects, and if you click on the asset library, you will see all the objects WPF provides. So we just hide them because the project is for design. If I press F5, the designer don't know, but there is a compilation there. It is a Windows application, not just drawing. But if you want to make some rich interfaces, you can do it. I can place some object like a button, checkboxes. Look, you can do all things I have done in Visual Studio in Blanc. Just press F5, you recompile the application. What changed here is that you can really do something very nice for a developer, for example. I can change the background and use some gradient there. The button, I can put a different color of a button, which is very difficult to do in Windows. But it's not really a button, so I can make some transformation on all the objects. So that's the difference between Visual Studio. It's really for creative point of view. You use Blanc. But that is very interesting. I can open a project, and the project I create in Visual Studio called WPF Application 27, I can open it in Blanc. So I just go to the directory, project, because Blanc and Visual Studio are sharing the same project. So I can open a Visual Studio solution, and the project will appear in Blanc. I can make all the transformation I have done before. For example, just choose another color with a gradient, put some shape. If I save this project, if I go back to Visual Studio, because the project is open in Visual Studio knows that the file has been changed. So you can reload it, and you will have the new version in Visual Studio. So you can share the same project between designer and developer in Blanc and Visual Studio. There are a lot of things to say about WPF, but let's see some demo there. I create a new project. And I will use a video for my demo. Okay. Just compile the application. So the video is playing here. We don't care about the rendering in WPF. So I can take this video. It is not really a component. Even if I use a media element, it's just a surface where I can draw something. And for example, I can just make a visual brush of this content, of this object. I can put my video outside of a window, just take any shape, for example, an ellipse, and just fill the shape with the new visual brush I create. So if I press F5, the video is painted in the ellipse. Okay. That's very important to understand that we don't have an ActiveX for reading playing video. And what we can do is making some animation on all the objects in the Blend, in WPF application. And Blend has an interface there to create animation. I can create, for example, a new storyboard. And for example, I will just remove this object. And after 1 second, I just enter the object in the window. After 2 seconds, just make some rotation on the object. So if I just run the application, you will see the animation. Okay. And I can make the animation on all the components, so I can make some great interfaces, even if I manipulate data. Just another example. Create a new project. I will add an XML file with data in this project. Okay. This XML file is about a project, so I have a description and images for the project. So I will just copy the images in a directory for this application. Just add all these images. It is there. Okay. And what I can do is making drag and drop between the data there and the interfaces. I can just drag and drop the project array, choose a control, for example, a list box, choose the way where the data is binding. Is it a one-way or two-way binding? And after, I choose a template for each items for my list box. And I can show all the XML attribute I have in each item of the list box. So I can choose, for example, for the images, another control, just choose image for images. And this is the rendering I will have. I don't have copy of my images in the directory, so sorry for this. Okay, so if I just reload the project, let's try again. Images. Oh. Perhaps I have a mistake on the name of images. Don't care about this. So I have a list box there. But it's not really Windows list box. I can make some transformation on this. I also able to make a visual brush on this controller. For example, I can put a rectangle here, and perhaps make something like a reflect of a list box by just painting the content with this new visual brush. But you have to flip the control the images to be really a reflect, but I don't have enough time there. I can put a background with a gradient. I can put no background in the list box. And I can really do something very different for Windows application, even if it is a list box there. Just compile, and we have something very live because the visual brush is live. So there are a lot of things to say about WPF and Blend, and if you are interested in, tomorrow I will have a session on WPF only. Okay, so it's just an overview of what you can do with WPF and Expression Blend. So Blend is for interactive designer. It's not for really for developer. You can make some risk client with Blend, and it's work together with Visual Studio, as I have shown you. Okay. So now, what about Expression Design? Expression Design is only for graphic, so it's a tool for graphic art. You will make only some draw with Expression Design, but you can create some visual for the web or for WPF application because you can export all the objects in XAML. Let's have a demo of Expression Design. Okay, so the tools look like Expression Blend. Sometimes I'm confused. They share the same interface. By the way, Expression Design and Expression Blend was done on top of WPF. So it is WPF application. And you can see it if you choose option, workspace zoom, and you can zoom the interfaces. Okay. So they both have this feature. So it's a tool for designers. So you have some tools there. You have some shape. You have some pen. You can draw some path. Let's do a polygon. So you cannot see the parameters. Okay. So for example, I will choose to have a border, another color to the shape. I also want to have more point and perhaps make some modification like this. So it's really a tools for design. I can take this object, copy it to XAML, go to Blend, and paste. Sorry, I have a mistake. Copy and paste it in Blend. And I still have a vector object in Blend because the object is pasted in XAML format. So I can create some visual with Expression Design and just copy it and paste it in Blend. Okay. And the visual there is a path. I can show you the XAML. XAML here, it's a path. But I can change this path to be a button. And now I can have some even under on this control because it's a button. Okay. So there are several ways to create buttons in WPF. This is one easy way to do this. Let's make another button. Just put one ellipse here. I will just copy the object 3 times. And I just want to have a button with a reflect. So I just use another ellipse there. Okay, because I just want to have this shape for the reflect. So I select these 2 objects and just make some operation. Oh, sorry. Just make some operation on these 2 objects and just have separate so the shape. As the new shape will be my reflect. So I make no border. Just put it, perhaps resize it a little. Put it there. And I will change the gradient there. Sorry. And I change the gradient of second shape to be something like this. I'm not really a designer, but well, it looks like a reflect, no? No, okay. Try to make it better, okay. I just put this one on top of this control, going to front. And I will make some opacity to simulate the reflect. Okay. It looks like a button with reflect. Just group this three objects, make a copy to XAML, and paste it in down. So that's really easy to have some new great visual for Windows application. You can also export in design all the objects you have created. Command. You can export the object to a JPEG file or PNG or XAML. When you choose to export the visual in XAML format, you will have these boxes. And you can choose to export the object like a Canva, a WPF Canva, or like a resources. If you choose resources, it will be a brush, and you can use a brush to draw, to fill any shape in Blend. So there are several ways to collaborate between designer and developer. Okay, so go back to the slide. So the next part is about Silverlight. So I will begin with Silverlight 1.0. What is Silverlight? Silverlight is for improving web application. It's collaborate with all things you have done with web application. It's just a new thing you can add in your pages. It is HTML based. It's not a new thing, really a new thing for you. But we will use XAML for the interface, for the visual, and JavaScript for the event. So that's why it's only for improving your pages with cool things, very designed with XAML. So let's have a look at a Silverlight application. Okay. Just put the sun again. Okay. So there is some old sample, but it's very interesting to look at if you have never seen this kind of sample. For example, we have done this kind of player. We don't have sound. Okay. This is a HD high definition video. I can go to full screen, go back to the the normal size. And because XAML is based on vector, I can resize the player in the web pages. In this sample, we also have something like a DVD navigation, and I can click everywhere to go to a specific position in the video. So that you can do with Silverlight with video. And And because it's based on WPF model, the video is not a controller, it's just a surface. And we have shown something like this, for example, for advertisement. Well, I'll just show you this one. You can have a video there, some banner go through up the video with transparency. You can have live information come from web services and just make the information appear on the video. But you can also make something like this, resize the video at any time and perhaps show something behind the video. In this example, you have some advertisement for Silverlight. So this is very important because we don't have a control. We just have surfaces and just draw the video like I have done in WPF. What we can do in Silverlight, it's also about rich internet application. For example, we can create some games. This one is very easy. You just have to take a position there, and you have some points depending the height of the position. It is a Silverlight application. You can resize it because it's vectors basis, and it's only XAML with JavaScript behind. Okay. So how can we do create some Silverlight application? You can use Visual Studio, File, New, Project, Silverlight. But in fact, Visual Studio is for Silverlight 1.1, and I will come back later. You can use Blend, and we have a preview of version 2 of Blend, so you can download it from our website. And in the preview of Blend, you can now create some new project based on Silverlight technology. So you have Silverlight 1.0 and Silverlight 1.1. So let's start with Silverlight 1.0. You have the pages here. I have all the tools for drawing, but because it's not WPF application, I don't have a lot of control there. So all things Silverlight is about drawing. But I can make something like this. Perhaps make a rectangle, choose a background with a gradient. So we have a lot of things we done in a WPF application. I can make a corner there, make a gradient also here, and perhaps use video in this project. And if I just press F5, it's not really compile the application, but it's launched a browser. And here is a page, HTML page with a Silverlight control inside. So Silverlight is running on a Windows platform, but it's also running in Macintosh because we support Safari, Firefox, and EU, Internet Explorer. For the next version, we will support also Linux. We just announced this 3 months ago. No, 2 months ago. Okay, so this is a Windows web application. So I can do all things I have done with WPS about vectors and animation. So I can animate all things in Silverlight. So for example, I can make an animation, storyboard. I can put it in resources or just launch the animation when the application starts up. If, for example, I want to make the video come in after 2 seconds, and perhaps make some other transformation like this. Just reverse the images. So if I press F5, I got the animation there. So a lot of things you can do in WPF, you will be able to do it in a Silverlight application, but you only base your application about visual, not controls. I will make something more interesting, just another project. Again, just put a gradient there. In design, for example, I can take this button, just copy it in XAML, go in the Silverlight application, paste it. So it's not really working. Just a tip here. If you just paste the control, Expression Design 1.0 doesn't know nothing about Silverlight. So it just generates XAML with a viewbox. And viewbox is not supported in the Silverlight. So you just have to remove the viewbox. And if I go back in design, you have a button. So the next version of Expression Design will generate XAML for Silverlight. So we will not generate object that Silverlight cannot handle. Okay, just go back to my demo. So in Expression Design, I just want to have a shape, for example, an ellipse, but I will add some points on this object. So it will become a path. I just copy this object, go back in Blend, paste it. And because I have a path with several points, I can make some transformation on this point. Okay. So what I will do there is an animation. I will put this animation in the resources as a resources, so it will not launch when the application starts up. And what I want to do is to make some, after a few seconds, some transformation on the shape. Okay. If I launch the application, nothing will happen because the storyboard is not fired. Now what I want is to fire this storyboard. So just have a rectangle here. And let's say that this is a button. So I want to make some code behind this object to fire the storyboard. I will give a name to this object, button animation. Oh, animation. Okay. And if I look at the project, we don't see, because it is a Silverlight 1.0 application, we don't see C# files or VB files, but just JavaScript. And we have the same kind of project when you have a C# project. You have the interfaces and the source code, the code behind the interface. So the JavaScript there is for the pages, which called page point XAML. It is the XAML file. So all the code there is for the XAML file. So if I double click there, I have an editor now in Blend. I can write some JavaScript in Blend. So the first thing I will do is to look at the button. Sorry, excuse me. The things I will do is to look at the storyboard and to fire the storyboard. Okay. So Oh, I'm tired. Again. What I want is to have a JavaScript function called when I press on this object. Okay. So what I will do there is on when the control is created, I will associate an event handler to this object. So first I have to look and find this object. So I just create a variable. I just look at an element called button animation. It is the rectangle. And if I find this object, I will add an event to this object. And the event is about mouse left press button down, and if it fired the JavaScript code called handle mouse down, which is there. So I don't need this line for this example. There is two points there. Okay. And just to look if the code is working, I just make a JavaScript alert. Yeah. Okay. Just press F5. So if I click on this button, I have alert fire. So now what I want to do is to find the animation. So I just make some code like this, sender, which is the object which have called this event, find name. The storyboard, I didn't change his name, it's storyboard 1. And if I find this object, I just call the begin method. There. So if I press F5, I can call the animation on this object. And now what I want to do is to put a video in this object. And like WPF, I would like to make a visual brush. But if you look at the tools there, you will see nothing. Because the project Expression Blend, the preview 2 of Expression Blend, is not finished yet. So you don't have the option there, but you can write it by hand. That's what I will do. So just go to the XAML file. I want to look at this path. Okay. What you see there, what I don't see. Okay, it's there. You have, because I put a gradient in the, for the background, so I have here some code for the gradient. I just take it off, and I want to make the video play there. So the video call team call _07. So the media element I put in the interface have this name. So what I can do there is to have a visual brush, a video brush for painting the path. And the source name of this video brush is the name of a media element which handle the video. So it's the same name like this. So team call _07. I don't remember, but I think you have a WMV. Okay. So if I press F5, if I click on the button, nothing happened. What is his name? Okay, the point is changed to underscore. Where is my path? Should be quick. Okay. Underscore. F5. So if I click on the button, this is the last demo, so team call. So let's take the name, perhaps it's case sensitive. I don't know if the video is playing by default. I don't remember. Okay, it's case sensitive. So if I click on the button, I have animation with transformation and the video still playing in the path. So I can do really cool things with Silverlight because it's based on the WPF model. Okay, go back to my slide. So, what about Espresso Encoder? So Espresso Encoder is a tool for encoding video, but it's a tool for encoding video for Silverlight application. So it's really designed for Silverlight application. And what you can do is to host the application you create on the website. And so internet people can access to your application. But you can also host your application to the Silverlight streaming, which is a free hosting services from Microsoft. You can host until 4 GB of application for free. So it's very easy to create an application based on video with Espresso Encoder and store and host this application on Silverlight streaming. I will show you in a demo. Okay, just run Encoder. So it looks like Espresso Blend, Espresso Design. It's based on WPF also. So I can change the size of all of the elements. I will just drag and drop a video in the project. So just take one video, okay, put it there. And after a few seconds, the video will be analyzed, and I can walk through the video. Okay. So what I can do is first is to encode the video. So I have to choose a format, a video encoding format. And I have several things there. But because it's for Silverlight application, Silverlight just handle VC1 format for video. WMV is based on VC1 format. So all the format you have here is compatible with VC1. So I can, for example, choose something which is very bad quality, motion thumbnail. It's very small. And I just want to compare pieces of this video, and just want to encode these pieces, and just to have a look at how the encoding will look like. And so you can visually look that it's very bad when you choose this kind of format. It's very interesting things to look at the quality you would like to provide. So let's choose source profile. So it will be the same format of the video you have given. It will be more quickly, because if I encode the video, it will take some time. What you can do in this project is to add some information. For example, I can add on this video an icon like an overlay. So it's very interesting when you have a logo and you want to put the logo in the video. So just choose an images. Demo image. Okay, this is fantastic. So this logo will encode in the video. You can also choose to add a video before and after your video. So it's an easy way to add some advertisement in your video. And all thing I am doing in the project could be saved as a job, and it is a XML file. So I can after automate all thing I am doing with the interface of a project. What you can do also is to add some meta information in the video, which is the author, the title, but even some information like the notion of parental rating, and you can perhaps let people look at the video or not, depending his ages. But the most interesting thing there is markers. So markers is about putting some markers in the video and to mark some position in the video. But we use markers for creating DVD navigation style for video. So for example, if I put a marker there and just click this checkbox to generate an images for this position, when I will generate a Silverlight application, it will generate a player with DVD navigation capability. Okay. So just put some markers there. Add someone there. Okay. But markers is something very abstract, because you can put a tag, you can put a marker and call the marker caption, project. You can give a name, whatever you want to the markers. So we use this time, we use markers first for the DVD navigation, but I can add other markers in the video. For example, I've put here another markers, but not for the DVD navigation. I can give any name for these markers. If I give caption for the name, it will be a subtitle in the video. So I can give here some text. Hello. It's working. I can put another subtitle here. But I can give I can give a name to this marker and use this marker to something else. For example, I can make some code when this a kind of marker called perhaps project arrives. I just put up a window and perhaps people can buy something because he saw something in the video. There is a marker, the project appears, and can put it in his basket. Thank you. So markers is very interesting. So you will see how it will be handled after. The last panel there, I can choose the quality of the thumbnail of DVD navigation style. But I can also choose the template, the Silverlight template I wanted to have for this application. There are a lot of templates there, and you can create your own template and put it in the project. So let's have a Silverlight template, the expression template there. I click on code, but I choose a format which is the same like the source video, so it will be very fast. It has to be very fast. Why is it encoding? I know. Okay, so let's encode. it's not really VC1 format. So it is a HD video, so you have to encode it. Okay, so we have to wait 2 minutes. But I go on because we are running out of time. I'll come back after. So the last thing I want to talk about is Silverlight 1.1. So Silverlight 1.1 is about rich interactive application. Because the difference between Silverlight 1.0 is that we will have C# and VB language. That means that you will have CLR in Silverlight. So you will have you will be able to create .NET application for Silverlight. And because you have language like C# and VB, you have the same model on WPF and Silverlight with Silverlight 1.1. So let's have a look with Silverlight 1.1. So we still left 1 minute. So I will do all things in 1 minute. So I just create a new application in Visual Studio. I choose Silverlight, and it will create a Silverlight 1.1 application. Okay. I have XAML to define the interfaces, but the code behind is C# because I choose a C# project, but it could be VB files. And for example, if I have some buttons, let's save this project, just open it in Blend. The project is called Serial Project 27. Oh, oh, no. Sometimes I make confused because the interfaces are the same. Silverlight Project 27. Okay, so I am in Blend. I open the Silverlight project in Blend, so I can make some visual. For example, just a rectangle there. And if I want to have a button and just have a hello message appear when I click on this button, if you want to code this button, which is very different now, is that you have C#. So if I choose property of this object, for this version of Expression Blend, you don't have event property. You just have a property of the object, not the event property. So I think in the next version, you will have property. But right now, in the preview of Blend 2, you don't have a property up here. So if you want to code this button, just save this file. You have to go in Visual Studio. And because I have an object there, I can specify that the object have a click. No, sorry, a mouse, left button down or left button up. And just write here the name of the method you want to call. So button, click. Just go back in the C# code. Just write the event. Object, sender, root. Just put event args. And I cannot make a message box show because it's not a Windows application. So I have to put another object if I want to show you something. Just put a text block and give a name to this text block. Okay, just save this project. Go back to Visual Studio. So now I have text box button, text. Hello. Just compile the project. Do I make a mistake? Text block. Text block doesn't exist. Oh, sorry. Name text block. No, it will working. So if I just open the HTML page, just browse. Okay, if I click on the button, nothing's happened. Okay, I have made a mistake. Text block. What's happened? I can debug. Okay, what's happened? Oh, where's my click? Mouse. Button, click. Okay. Okay, so now I see the caption. So we have the same model for developing WebF application and Silverlight 1.1 application. So that is very, very interesting things for rich interactive application. And to finish, I think there is a problem with this video. I take too big, the video is too big, I think. And the machine is very, very tired. Okay, nothing was generated. I think I didn't have to make a close there. So let's do something, just do something quickly. Just to see the result. So no, this kind of template, okay, on code. This is faster. Okay. So now I have the application. So I don't have the markers because I delete the project and I create one. But you have the player there, the control for piloting the video. You have a chapter there if you have put some markers. And what is very interesting there is that the project you have, it's a Silverlight 1.0 project. You have a C# project file there. You can open this project with Visual Studio or Expression Blend. Document, Expression Coder, output. This one, I think. Is it this one? No. This one. This one. Okay. And you can edit the project in Expression Blend, modify the visual, or you can also create a template and use the template in the Expression Coder. So the last slide, it's about roadmap. This is my roadmap because we don't really share the roadmap right now. But what I can say is that we have the Expression Studio RTM, which was delivered on September. We will have a next version, Expression 2.0, next year in the second quarter. And in the Expression Studio 2.0, we will have Blend 2.0 for Silverlight application 1.0 and WPF application. And Expression Design will be also synchronized with Blend, and you will generate content for WPF 3.5 and Silverlight 1.0. And after you will have Expression Studio 3.0, but before each version, you will have some preview of all the projects. For example, you have Blend 2 preview right now for Blend 2.0. When 2.0 will be available, you will have Blend 3 preview for waiting for the next version. So that's the workflow you will have on the studio project. So that's it. Thank you very much. If you have some question, I am here.